Morning, officer.
Maybe this is the pot calling the kettle black. This guy thinks he's a genius and he's a moron.
Oh, this is live.
Think of like the dumbest cave troll let you know.
You looked right at me when you said that.
You're not the dumbest.
Here are the facts as I see them.
Welcome, everybody. It is, what's the date, Merce? Oh, it's 9/11. Well, I'm less excited about the date now. Welcome.
Some people are.
Yeah, well, there's some dancing people on rooftops that are too, but we're not getting into that because we're not getting silenced that quickly. Welcome, everybody, to the Bandit Radio Hour. It's your Bandit live with you on this Sunday evening. I know you're probably listening to this in the morning or afternoon, but here it's evening, damn it, and it feels weird addressing it as anything else. I'm here, not so live, with my producer, Merce, sound off.
Hello.
And, yeah, we're just going to cut right into it. Now, guys, I know y'all have not gotten enough of me talking current events and my crazy conspiracies. We're going to take a slight break from that. We're actually having this discussion before we started recording, and we're just going to roll into it. People used to be so unbelievably tougher than they are. Like, I think of the toughest guy alive now, and like the two that pop into my head after not thinking about it very much. But Popeye does pop up in the heads, and I like watching him with my daughter and son. They're starting to get too old for him, and it's sad. Anyways, no, derailer, not that. I'm thinking like Joe Rogan, a guy that you see like kick heavy bags all the time and hunt elk and stuff. And the other one's like Jocko Wilson. Have you ever seen that guy?
No.
He's a bald, I want to say an ex-Marine. If he's not an ex-Marine, he could totally pass as one. And he got really big in this, like, you ever hear of, like, what are they called? Alpha males? Guys that are, like, like that really ride on it. I don't know if he is, like, Jocko Wilson, is the brainlet, knuckle-dragging, whatever. I'm not going to call him any of that because he could kick my ass 8 different ways. But he is very much one of these, and, like, I got all the respect for him. I think his tweet every day is when he wakes up and looks at his watch, and it's like at 3:45 or 4 in the morning. And he's like, "Oh, I'm going for my run. I'm doing push-ups."
I'm usually up then, but it's just because I can't sleep.
Yeah,
I don't get out of bed.
It's because of your mental disorder. Let's be explicitly clear about that. No, this guy wants to do that and goes and works out. And hey, like I'm not even like knocking the guy. He's inspired a lot of other young lazy assholes to get up and start doing shit. Like that's good. I'm not going to do any of that stuff. I work outside, so no thank you. I get enough of a workout. But, like, when I'm talking about the toughest guys nowadays, we're talking about two of the, like, Jocko and Joe Rogan, two of the most elite, like, workout UFC people they're like, are. Back in the day, not very long ago, like, when was Jackson president? Andrew Jackson.
Yeah, no, like 18 well,
it was before the Civil War.
Like 1820s.
Okay, 1820s, 1830s. So let's say like, 7 generations ago, 8 generations ago? I'm not going to get into that math, whatever. This guy wasn't even known as a tough man. Like, it's not like he was a bodybuilder or something like that.
Yeah.
This was the guy that would go on to be president.
With a bullet in him.
No, like, we're going to get there. That, like, in stark contrast to today, whatever disagreements or agreements you have with the man, Joe Biden is our president. And think about think about the past 8 presidents. Have they been, like, big, tough guys? Like, Trump's about as close as you get. And
he's not in the best shape.
No, he looks like a giant Big Mac. And hey, dude, like, God bless him. He's, like, still can kick ass.
Amazing Big Mac.
Dude, like, really, like, an amazing Big Mac. You are not lying about that. He is a fantastic Big Mac. But no, like, Andrew Jackson, this guy, all right, so one of my favorite stories about him, the historians might get a little bored, but the biography on Jackson's bonkers. So what, Merce? He makes his bones in Florida, right? During the Seminole, American Seminole Wars?
Yeah, he chased him down to southern Florida.
And dude, like, I think I got this off of Shane Gillis's podcast, but Polk is the president at the time.
Okay.
And he is negotiating buying Florida from Spain. And, you know, they don't have telephones, and Jackson's like down in Mississippi or Alabama or something like that. And Polk is way up in Washington, D.C., and is like writing him a letter like, "Hey, good news. I'm talking to the Spanish government about buying the land of Florida. And Jackson goes like, after a couple of days, writes him back like, that's a stupid idea. I'm invading Florida. You don't have to buy it. I'm conquering it with my army. And he's like, by the way, I'm doing this starting tomorrow. And I know the letter will get there in like 3 days. And Polk gets this letter. It's like, what? I'm the commander of the armed forces.
Forward the letter to Orlando.
Dude, like literally, he's like, stop messing up this deal of buying the state and answer me like cease and desist. Like, don't do this. And Jackson writes him another letter like, I'm past Jacksonville.
I'm sorry, I'm going through a tunnel. Like, he's just writing static.
Literally, it's like I've already salted the ground and burnt everything behind me. It's not worth your losses to buy it. Let's just finish what I've started. And I think Polk gets close to like sending another army unit down there to stop this guy. And this ain't some gruff private on the front lines. This is the general. Like, God bless
It's kind of an American thing to do, though.
It's so I'm not pro-imperialist, and it's such an imperialist thing to do, but it's just so badass to be like, nah, President, I know I answer to you, but I'm gonna do my own thing. Peace out, homie. I'm gonna go kill all these Seminoles and Frenchmen, Spaniards that are left down here.
That's why I can never just have my own army.
No.
So we can just kind of...
We can just go do what we want now. So that's how Jackson's career starts. Like, that's what he eventually becomes president. When he becomes president, and like you know, Shane Gillis was talking a lot about him, but like one of the things he really put in perspective that I thought was like brilliant, because Jackson is like a quandary compared to all these other presidents. Like, he's something really wild at the time, and he goes, honestly, it would be like Donald Trump if Donald Trump brought a gun with him everywhere and shot anybody he thought needs to be shot. Like, that's what, like, Merce, I know you know this story. He's walking along a path talking to one of his advisors, and this is before there's Secret Service or anything like that, while he's president. And an assassin, I think an anarchist, jumps out of the bushes and has 3 flintlock pistols and fires the first one. You know, it's like black powder pistols back then. And it's a dud. Drops it, shoots the second one, and it misfires and goes way off. And by the time he's pulling his third pistol out, Jackson has gotten his cane and is beating the shit out of the assassin. He's beating him so bad, Jackson's aides have to get Andrew Jackson and pull him off of the assassin. It's like, dude, he's just trying to kill the president. And we all understand because you keep shooting people as the president. I don't know if he shot anybody as the president, but it would not be surprising. Merce, what's the story you told me? He went into a meeting and coughed up a bullet?
Yeah, he actually coughed up a bullet from a duel early in life, and how he got...
Yeah, so hang on. So he's in... Oh, by the way, he holds, like, the record for most duels, right?
Yeah, well...
Like, by far.
I don't know if it's that bullet, but supposedly that one of the bullets, or why he had a bullet in him that he coughed up, is he was entering a duel with, like, against the best pistol shot around. I don't know how it came to that terms, but Jackson...
How do you do that with a smoothbore barrel?
Anyways, Jackson, or another really good duelist, Jackson knew he couldn't outshoot him or outdraw him. So Jackson's plan was to just shoot him first. Or let him get shot first.
Jackson gets shot first. So let the pro shooter shoot Jackson first. That's Jackson's plan.
His thought was like, well, if he's just got a quick draw, he won't have time to get like a super accurate shot off.
Yeah.
So Jackson gets shot like in the abdomen, like.
Oh, so his plan backfires
and no, it's exactly what he wanted to happen. So Jackson gets shot.
Which, by the way, getting gut shot back then is like damn near a death sentence.
Yeah. So Jackson gets shot, and then takes his time to aim, because then by the duel...
Because you only get one shot in a duel.
Yeah, you're not allowed another round until both people have shot. So the guy's got to stand there and watch Jackson just steady his pistol.
Just lift his own damn gun while he's bleeding out of his side.
But my favorite part is, could you imagine him just telling other people, what's your plan? I'm going to let him shoot me.
Damn, what caliber is a musket ball?
I don't know.
But like I know it's not like 9mm, or it's not like it's
a big heavy pistol
ball. It's not even a bullet. It's a ball.
Yeah.
It's a no. So anyway, he survives this duel along with many others.
And this is like years or a decade or so later. He's literally like in a meeting, and from then on, he always did have problems from it. Like he didn't just escaped unharmed.
Yeah.
But yeah, he literally started like a.
Are you
bad
kidding me?
cough.
They didn't fix it with more leeches and letting his blood out?
But yeah, he literally coughed up the bullet like onto a table.
So hardcore. Jackson's now my personal
Which means he got lung shot.
yeah, and coughed it out. One of my favorite stories of Jackson is his inauguration, which back then people could just walk up to the White House and knock on the door and be like, "Hey, what's the president up to?" And I don't know if the president.
How are you spending my money?
Yes. Tell me now, damn it, he says in Whiskey Rebellion. But
Jackson just opens the door drunk in his robe. Get off my lawn.
You'd probably be lucky if it was a robe. But no, so Jackson becomes president. I think he's one of the first people to win the popular vote and be president. Or I don't know if I said that right. Maybe he's the first one to win the popular vote, but not the Electoral College, and it went to great dispute. There's something funky like that. Just ignore what I just said. But anyways, when he wins and he goes to the White House, and like I said, that Shane Gillis said, he's like Trump. Like he is, his coming into the office is like the first big wave of populism. It's a whole lot of people hating the elites that they think are just taking money off them. Here's the guy going, "Am I the man for the job? No, but I'll tell them to eat shit and die." And everyone's like, "We'll vote for you." So he gets in, and being a man of the people, he invites literally the entire nation to the White House for his
party next Wednesday.
Dude, it's like open invite, bring your family, bring your kids. We're just going to have things like free food and a fountain of whiskey, like multiple fountains of whiskey, but it's on record as being one of the most expensive parties ever. It lasts for days, like weeks, and people are crashing. Like people are bringing pigs to the front lawn of the White House. They are having barbecues. It's like a giant white trash tailgate party. And people are pissing and shitting inside the White House.
I was born in the wrong time.
Yep, they were stealing stuff. People were stealing candlesticks and paintings, and
yeah, they're just getting their money back.
True, can't steal what's been stolen, but you can. But anyways, that's a philosophical discussion for another time. But in the words of the great historian and stand-up comedian Shane Gillis, the White House kind of has an unspoken rule that it never ask people to leave. They leave on their own accord. But the staff takes it very, very seriously. So how do we it's been a week, maybe 2 weeks, and people are still pissing in the corners of the Oval Office.
Jackson's still swinging from the chandelier.
Yes, yeah, and so what they did, they told them all there was a new thing of free booze on the front lawn, and that if they didn't go get it soon, they'd all be gone. Everybody rushed out of the White House, and they just slammed all the doors and windows behind them and locked it. And it was like, all right, now he's got to get them off the lawn. And they eventually did. But I don't know how he got detoured into a mini biography. Oh, also, he genocided Indians, Native Americans, I guess not Indians.
Yeah, there was the Indian Removal Act.
Yeah. But then,
That's why Davy Crockett went to Texas.
So many American legends, you just like Old Testament. You're like, oh, these were good guys. And then you read their story and you're like, you killed so many. It's all soldiers he killed, right? Oh, no, innocent women and children? All right, that's not cool. That's shitty. But as terrible as Andrew Jackson is at genociding all these people, he selects a couple of them as oh, you're gonna be my adopted son, and I'll love you more than my. I don't know if he had a birth son, but he really cared for his adopted Native American children who he murdered their whole family.
Yeah, no, it's wild.
Different times, but what got us into this? I mean, dude, Jocko Wilson, you think he could survive a musket ball to the gut and them just throwing leeches at him for him to survive? As awesome as Joe Rogan is and all the DMT he does, could he pull, even those legends.
You shoot me with a musket ball, I'm not getting back up.
And now here's the counter to that. So many more people died at a young age back then.
So they just went hard.
Dude, it's just the ones that survived were rough.
Which is, we have way too many people surviving these days.
Yeah, and that's a really neat thing about nature. Like
but nature's no longer picking off the stupid.
Oh no, it is. It's just doing it in a different way. This is all still nature.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, we got shiny metal things and plastic. That's nature. I mean, we didn't invent atoms out of
Yeah, but
nothingness.
now we have welfare to help the stupid survive.
Yes,
Not everybody.
but see-
I mean, it has its place, but
But you know, like what happens when there's like an excess of white-tailed deer in the area? They all start like going kind of crazy and inbreeding. They start dominating the area, and eventually they'll trigger something that's a big wipeout of all the, not even the stupid
you
ones.
shouldn't talk about Polk County like that.
Well, I mean, when in Rome. And all of us talk about Polk County or Duval. Those are our two. Even though we all really hate Miami the most.
Yeah,
Like,
but
we
it's
could-
become its own thing.
It really could just screw off and be its own country for most of us care. I don't like Miami. And I like a lot of the Cuban stuff.
I like the Dolphins. I'm a Dolphins fan, but I'm probably never going to go to a game.
I like Dan Marino. Not a big fan of Finkel, though.
Finkel's Einhorn.
And that, like, comprises all of my knowledge of professional football and the Miami Dolphins, is that Finkel is Einhorn.
Laces out.
But, yeah, like, yes. But, even, we're talking about, like, legendary people like Jackson, stuff like that. But here's a crazy thing about back then. We live in a small town that 4 generations ago, people were pretty behind the times and stuff like that.
We're still behind the times.
We still are, but back then we really were. I met a guy, he was like at my last job when I worked up in another county, and he was 98 years old, and they were like having his 98th birthday, and I think he died like a couple of days later too. But he was talking about how for entertainment, him and his brother and sister in Ona, which is a nothing town, they have a fence post plant, and that's it, in a corner store. They went out and saw them bring electricity to the place for the first time, and they would pull up their chairs and watch a power pole. just watch a power pole sit there and be like, can y'all believe that's bringing light to the house? Like, those people...
If they're waiting on light, they're there before air conditioning.
Dude,
That's
before air conditioning in Florida, before the mosquitoes here, all way of life was like miserable. And now you just look at the average person here and you're like, oh, if we go the way of Britain and our AC turns off, half the population's gone. And so you said like nature's not letting us take care of stupid people anymore. I think nature has this really neat effect where it's like, oh, y'all are going to let your dummies live? And when I say dummies, I don't even mean like low IQ people.
at least one of you listening is what we would consider a dummy.
At least more than one.
I mean,
I'm one of the ones. Let's be real. I'm speaking into a can digitally. But no, like, it eventually gets to a point where if nature's not doing that, it's like, all right, I'm going to sit back and let you do your thing. And then we're going to do it on a big scale and get rid of a lot of the things that have become unadaptable. The beings that, because, surviving nature isn't about being smart or being strong or being, look at insects. They're one of the dumbest creatures in all of existence.
but they adapt.
They adapt and they've survived since the dinosaurs. And long after we've nuked ourselves or hit an asteroid or whatever, they'll be buzzing around till the planet's not a planet anymore. So, oh man, that's scary. That means all the dumb people, what I consider dumb, might survive the event if they're able to adapt. I just bummed myself out. I need more coffee. And we're going to get some other things too. By the way, the Queen died. So, yeah, got coffee. We're back in gear. Yep, the Queen bit the dust. Bit the dust, bit the bullet.
Well, Queen had this hit. Another one bites the dust.
Yeah, all right. Thank you, Mr. Autism Deluxe, right next to me. Great connection. But no, so I don't know. Everybody else chatting their head off about it, so I'm not going to talk too much about
I'm
it.
excited just for the fact that the song is going to be now "God Save the King."
There you go. I don't know. I'm American. We quit giving a crap what British royalty does like 200 and some odd years ago.
Death to tyrants.
Yeah, whatever. That one. But. All right, let me steel man a little bit. I can kind of wrap my head around and understand if you're a British person, or like more specifically like an English or Welsh, like not Northern Irish, but if you're one of the hardcore British, I could totally understand like you taking pride in a local old family. And when I say old family, like old families here are like 6 generations, 7. No, over there it's like 20 to 30 generation they could trace back. I could see having pride in that. I could even see if you're like super patriotic about your local community or your local nation, y'all getting together a fund to support that family, as weird as that is. I don't understand taxing everybody to pay for this royal family, which, all right, maybe it's not directly in taxes. Maybe like that. I heard one person say they actually sold their private land to the state and that affords their lifestyle and all that. For, as Dave Smith put it perfectly, a pretend monarchy. It's not even real.
They have no political power.
It's nothing. And I can understand British people making it a big deal. Kind of like Americans make a big deal out of football. Like I could kind of see the same, but it's like, dude, when I see what every news channel I turn on is talking about this, my first thought is, what are they not talking about? Because there's so many more important things than this. What about the Queen's son that went to Jeffrey Epstein's island like multiple times? You know, I heard someone give a good take on this. If there's someone that was on that plane once, I can understand like they got caught in a honeypot or some intelligence
Like,
operator.
hey, yeah, we're all going to this island, and then like, I'm never going back.
Yeah, like, oh, you got me. But like the people you see going back all the time, they're like, oh, you caught me. Might as well jump neck deep into it. And duh. But
Shit, the Queen went to the stabbing cabin.
The
pictures were in the same cabin in Epstein's at.
Yeah. And for people that don't know what he's referencing, there is this great image on Twitter. Now, hey, I'm open to anybody showing evidence that this is photoshopped. I actually heard someone bring that up that I talked to, but as far as I know, haven't seen any evidence of that. But it's the Queen sitting at like a royal cabin or something like some private property with a little tiny log cabin on it, and like. This is going to sound really conspiracy tinfoil hat, but if you look at the image, you'll see what I'm talking about. The image of the Queen is sitting on this front porch, and there's like 2 logs of this log cabin that have very distinct markings on them in very distinct locations, like around the sitting bench. It's complemented by a separate picture of Jeffrey Epstein and, oh God, Merce, what's the scary pretty
Maxwell.
lady's name? Ghislaine Maxwell sitting together on the same bench with the same Ghislaine. Yeah, because her parents are pricks too and wanted to. Side note in a minute about names. I got a bone to pick about that stupid Ghislaine. God, I hate her father, mother, whoever came up with that. Watch, it's like some name out of the Bible or something like that, like it's some Jewish name. But anyways, yeah. So there's a lot more to the Royals. Them knighting Jimmy Savile. Have you ever heard of that British guy?
No.
Oh, dude. All right. First of all, before I get into this, Google image search Jimmy Savile, and it's Seville. Make sure it's a Google image search. And just look at this guy and tell me what you think he might be doing that's wrong.
This guy with the rose-colored glasses?
Yes!
Well, first of all, he's doing a lot of drugs. He looks like Ric Flair's father.
Okay. He kind of does look like Ric Flair's father. Woo! But, no. Jimmy Savile was knighted by the...
Oh, he was so grabby with kids.
Dude, not only was he grabby, he set up like different child charities that he would go and visit all the time. And this was like his in to get with all these kids. And he was like... I don't know, something akin to like Alex Trebek, but for Britain. Like, he would lead the parades. He was...
If he was bald, he'd look like Herbert the Pervert.
Dude, he looked... Oh my God, he does. Remove the hair and that's him. Dude, did they base him on him?
There's a popsicle in the basement.
Yeah, dude, did they base that character on Jimmy Savile? It looks exactly like him. That's creepy.
It's uncanny.
It really is.
Oh, that's a mesh shirt he's wearing.
But, like, dude, there's also supposedly, like... All right, I'm going really off the rabbit trail here. There's supposedly, like, in Britain or one of the British Isles, One of the islands was totally dedicated to like a foster care center or something like that, where there was nothing but kids.
Let's put them somewhere they can't escape.
Dude, and Jimmy Savile visited there a lot, and so did a lot of other celebrities, and this was like the Jeffrey Epstein of the 80s or 70s or 90s. I don't know, it's somewhere in that ballpark of Britain back in the day. And I'm recollecting a video I saw like years ago, but there was one guy in Parliament that actually stood up and was like, there's only one elected official that was like, what the hell is going on? Like, what is up with all these coincidences? Why isn't the news covering this? Why? And then in Britain, because they're idiot British people.
But he got beat to death with a club. He couldn't be shy.
Even worse, they all like stamp their feet and hiss. Dude, it's like something they do if like they all disagree with you. They'll go like retarded.
Well, just threw the wind in their teeth.
What was that quote I sent you? It's my favorite quote about the Brit. And hey, listen, some of the coolest people. It's the rule of Texas. Some of the coolest people I met in my life are British, but like most people, most places, most people suck. But there's this great quote from this ruler, and he said, "Of all the people in all the lands I've met, I've never met a people that were so ugly and so stupid that they could never be taught to read or write."
Wasn't one of the Romans that said that?
It was Julius Caesar talking about the British, and he's like, "Dude, I've been all over." And this little island is full of weird cave people like that paint blue on their face and talk to forest trolls and do a lot of mushrooms. Which, all right, they're cool about something. But yeah. So what was the side trail I was going? Names. All right. Listen, I thought this was an internet meme, but my daughter is dealing with a girl at school named Padme.
Like Star Wars.
Oh, my first thought was like, oh, like, where's Padme? Lily can't be saying that right. It must be like Padme, and like she's from Lily's like, no, she's a white girl. And I'm like, wait, she's white? Like American white? And she's like, yeah, she's like where we're from. And I'm like, Padme, Star Wars.
The Star Wars of our generation, they're old enough to have kids.
Yeah.
I feel old.
Dude, it's dumb. Which, I mean, like, no, I don't know. My name's after a non-fictional character. Supposedly, at least according to my parents that named me. I don't get... Oh, God, what a dumb character to name your kid. Like, all right, Padme.
Yeah, because, spoiler alert, she dies.
Yeah, she dies from a broken heart?
Yeah.
Something like... I'm not big on Star Wars lore. Don't crucify me, nerds. Y'all can anyways. We've tried. But, what? Why not? Why not the... All right, I don't even know her name, but there was one with like an orange face and her hair went like down like that. And she was a Jedi, but like an alien. She kicked ass.
Oh, Ashoka.
So it's something...
Ashika,
Ashanti?
It's Ashoka, and I only know that because I like The Mandalorian. Most Star Wars I don't like.
Shakira?
Shakira.
I know. That's stuck in my head now. Yeah, I don't know.
I just like The Mandalorian because it's like if you put Clint Eastwood in outer space.
Yeah, but you know what? My problem comes in with so many of these shows. You know, they're good. Like the thing I love about a good horror movie is that you look for the right decision, and they're like faced with like 3 decisions that are all crappy. And they're like, and you're like in your head, you're like, oh, what's the smart way to get out of this? And it's like, oh shit, they're picking the 3 smart ways, and they all suck. Like even you have 3 bad decisions, and you have to pick. But like, dude, in 90% of these movies I watch, like including like The Mandalorian, it's like, oh, we have these 2 options that we could do, and only this like, well, you could run away, like you could run and hide, or there's so many.
Such a manly option.
I don't care, you live. That's what Clint Eastwood would do. All right, maybe not. That was bridge too far. I step back. I take that back. I just didn't like it. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting older, and that's there was a South Park episode where after he turns like 11 years old,
everything's shit.
Everything's just shit. Like I'm almost worried that's kind of happening to me. I don't know. I'm trying to think of the last good Merce. Like in high school, you weren't really a movie freak, but I was all over. But well, your parents wouldn't let you even watch Hercules, But I was, and now that I'm older, I'm just, like, the last good movie I watched was The Lighthouse. Because it's one of the very few times in my life I've been completely sober, yet felt like I was tripping on LSD.
I think I read the premise of that online because I saw a meme and I couldn't figure out.
Watch it. It's good. Lighthouse is brilliant. It's, you're gonna see one scene.
Nobody captures a mermaid.
Kind of.
Something. Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay. Yeah. I googled the
No matter what you ask me about that movie, my answer is maybe.
Yeah.
Like, do they have guns in there? Maybe. It could just be a guy killing people with an axe. I'm not really 100% sure, but it's good.
Yeah. I said it was kind of like a trippy, like questionable.
Yeah,
thing.
and now it's supposedly based or influenced by real events. Have you ever heard the real story behind the lighthouse of Flannan Isle? No, not Flannan Isles. That was a war somewhere. Flannan Isle mystery, maybe. I don't know. Supposedly, like in the grand scope of things, I guess it's not a big deal. But there was like 3 lighthouse keepers there. They went in to check, like you stay there in 6 month shifts or 2 month shifts, and they come and bring you supplies at the end of 2 months. When they came up, the people to bring supplies, no one was waiting for them. They went into the lighthouse to check, and all the people's raincoats were still hung up, and like their food was sitting out on the table. Everything was like looking, but no one was there. And it's like one of these old mysteries of like, there's no real good. The only good explanation for what happened to them is like they all fell off the side rail together or something like that when they weren't intending to. Then there's supposedly one little extra bit of it. I don't know. It kind of sounds like bullcrap to me, but supposedly a journal was found. And in the journal, it's one of the lighthouse keepers who's like, oh, the storm is intense, and we're praying to God that we actually survive this on this day and this time, and may the Lord watch over us. I feel like this whole place is about to cave in. But at that date and time, if you check the local weather, like it's one of the most beautiful and calm days there are, all around.
Oh, he did it. That was his alibi.
Yeah, there you go. I really just chopped up everybody, but sure, storm.
And then he felt guilty and threw himself in the sea. Mystery solved.
No, he just found a rowboat. got out of there.
You guys are crazy. I'm over this.
I think I actually remembered that right. Flannan Isle Lighthouse Mystery. Yeah, dude. Check out Bedtime Stories on YouTube. I'll give them a shout out. Really entertaining and slightly informative stuff, but just mostly look at it as entertaining. All right, talking about other entertaining stuff that you find out about on YouTube. I'm going to give another shout out to a guy called Mr. Ballin, which is like the dumbest name I've ever heard of. But he's got a lot of these clickbaity looking scary YouTube videos. But he had one the other, I don't, some of them I like, a lot of them I don't. He had one the other day that really caught my attention. I looked it up and it all checked out. So I'm going to tell you the story. I'm going to tell you who it is at the end. This is like back in the 50s. And there's a guy who goes by the nickname of Mose. It might be Mose. Or it's something let's call him Mose. Can't remember the nickname. But he is a lifeguard in the Army. Like that's his job in the Army is to be like the lifeguard at the local pool or something like that. He is, I think his base is in California, and he's staying up in like Oregon or something like that. And he has to get back to his base the next day. And he's like screwed out of it. And he finds a pilot of a small engine plane. I don't know how small, but Mr. Aviation expert producer here will probably be able to verify some of the stuff I'm saying. He gets with the pilot, Mose does, and he goes, dude, I need a ride back. I know you're flying there tomorrow. I need to ride back there to get back to the Army on time. Guy's like, can't do it. There's only one seat in the plane. I can't squeeze you in there on my lap. And Mose goes, dude, it's cool. I know you got like a radar compartment in the back that's got a little bit of space. I'll just wedge myself in there and you slam the door on me and we'll take off. It'll be a couple hours. I'll be good. And he goes, the air's compressed back there, sealed or whatever it is. All right, screw it. We'll do it. So when they take off, as soon as they get in the air, Mo's sitting back in like the rear part of the plane where the radar equipment is, the pilot in front. As soon as they take off the ground, the side door to the radar compartment flies open. So all of that compressed air that he's needing to breathe just flies out. And Mo's the whole time is like trying to reach out and close the door, but he's flying and it's like you're sticking your hand out of a window, but 200 miles an hour. Can't get it shut. But lucky for him, and he's starting to pass out due to not having oxygen for this 3-hour ride, and this is the first 10 minutes of it. The pilot's also experiencing technical difficulties, and he actually has to lower the plane. I think he crashes it off the coast of California into the ocean. So Mose wakes up and is in seawater coming in, has to wait for the cabin to fill up before he can swim out. The pilot's gotten a life raft up and going. Mose swims onto it, crawls on top of it. It's these two guys. They're out on the coast from California or Oregon or somewhere in between there. And the fog is so thick, they cannot see 30 feet in front of them. They can't see the sun. And they're out in the ocean. They have no idea which direction to go. And they're also seeing sharks along this way. So they just pick a direction, start paddling, and throughout the rough waves of the Pacific, Mose gets knocked out. And before the pilot can even like turn around and find him, the fog separated them too much and he can't. Long story short, the pilot ends up going up the coast and making it to the army base, like on a different army base, and they find him and get together. He goes, hey, there's still a guy out there we got to go find. Mose swam, after all that, 2 miles in a single direction, found a beach, crawled up the beach, found a radio station, pounded on the door. They opened it to a dehydrated and nearly dead Mose, and Mose's real name was Clint Eastwood.
Nice.
All that happened to Clint Eastwood like back in the 50s, and he survived like all that crazy shit and then became a movie star.
That's the most Clint Eastwood thing.
Like dude, as soon as I found that out, I'm like, that's one of the most well-deserved like twists on an ending of a story I ever needed to hear in my life.
People should get off his lawn.
Hey, I gotta say, you know what he was head of the curb on? Speaking of like good movies, but I haven't seen this one. Did you ever see his movie about the guy that got supposedly framed for planting a bomb in Atlanta? The Atlanta bomber?
No.
Oh, dude. It's the guy's name. It's not Robert Frost. It's the guy that interviewed Nixon. It's something similar to that. But this came out like 5 or 6 years ago, and how the commercials painted it. I don't know, I gotta watch it, but it's really like, oh, the FBI knows this is who the suspect is, so don't worry, media, we all know who it is. There's no questions to ask. This is definitely the guy. And the guy's just the whole time like, I never planted a bomb. Like, please, FBI, leave me alone. And you would think a Clint Eastwood movie, like Clint Eastwood would be like, oh, the FBI's getting the bad guy. But no, it's very much like, oh, these people are kind of monsters that just have their own agenda that were started by Herbert Hoover, who was a cross-dresser that was locking up gay people left and right. Because, yeah, that makes sense. Not really, not with a cross-dresser doing it. If it was Pinochet or something, I get it. At least the guy's, it's horrible, but he's got principles. Like, this mass internment locker-upper doesn't even have those.
I'm not comfortable with myself, so I'm going to take it out on others.
On everybody, But that's the FBI. That's not just the FBI. That's anybody with a lot of power. But we've talked about that in other episodes. So straying away from that, we're going to get into a little bit of Sunday Bible talk with the Bandit. All right, so I don't know if this is unique to Judaism and Christianity, which would like come in after it. This time I've really, like the past couple of days, been digging around in my head. It really blows my mind how much they emphasize in the Old Testament and the New Testament how important free will is. I mean, if you're talking Old Testament, you're talking about stuff that's like 3,000 years old. You're talking about stuff older than like Socrates and Plato. And they're talking about how important it is that like every action you make is your own. Like you're in control of you for the most part at least. And don't get me wrong. I know to the secularists and the atheists, they're like, oh, not even all atheists, secularists believe this, but no, it's just chemical-driven forces. And all. Let's say, hypothetically, free will is a legit thing for this conversation. Let's say that's a given. What just an odd thing to emphasize at such an early time in human history. Like, you'd figure
especially at a time when slavery was a big thing.
When slavery's like the most common thing ever. Yeah. Like, it's as common as rain.
By the way, free will is important, but not for you.
Actually, I see what you're doing there. Like, yeah, my free will is important to dominate your life. But, like, and I looked it up. Like, I even Googled, like, quotes about it in the Bible. It's like, oh, here's over 20. And it's like, the actions of a man comes from his heart, even if it's not in the interest of God, or something like that. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much saying, like, God doesn't control everything you do. I'm like, man, all right, here's where we go off the Bandit trail a little bit. You know what it almost reminds me of? Hypothetically, if I made, like, an independent AI system, I mean, completely independent, 100%, it had free will. That would almost be like something I'd have to beat in its head. Like, hey, you're thinking on your own. It's not just programming. This is you actually it got me down this other thought. Hypothetically here, let's say we create an AI, right?
Yeah, because we're not smart enough to do that.
No, not we, not the two hicks in this trailer. I'm talking about Elon Musk and some of his boys.
I can hook a Lego man to a battery.
I can't even do that. I can step on a Lego man. But no, let's say, hypothetically, they created the Super Terminator, the AI, that completely took over the world, completely wiped out humans and all forms of life before them, right? And hypothetically on the same trail. Let's say after they wipe everything out, they're like, all right, we got to start, like, creating shit. Like, we got to start, like, I don't know, making new processing plants, making our Terminators better, making our what. And they started figuring out a way to, like, grow metal in an organic fashion. What if something like that happened before? And we are the Terminators that were made. And this or
We are pretty good at destroying things.
dude, not only are we pretty good at destroying things, something that kind of tied into this. This is something I've thought for a long time. If you listen to a mechanic diagnose the problem of a truck or a car or a tractor or anything that runs on internal nope, needs mustard on it. No, like if you listen to like a mechanic give a diagnostic of what's really going on with an engine, and you listen to a doctor give a diagnostic of what's going on with a human heart, don't get me wrong, it's not the same thing, but it's like, oh man, there's a lot of interchangeable just words here that all mean the same thing. What if, like, I really like this Unger Dryas theory that every 200,000 years or so we go through something that resets life on the earth, and there's like I'd like to believe mankind's come out of it every time. But man, if you start putting the Bible in that light and looking at it in just a slightly, but still believe everything's true in it, just look at it in a different light, it's like, oh man, this is, no matter what, I'm not saying I 100% believe we all.
Kind of like the Book of Eli vibes, the movie where like mankind's wiped out, but they're still holding on to the Bible.
Yes,
to use its power, and
it's like here's this knowledge, and like, dude, I'm not even sure if I talked about it on the show or if I was just bullshitting with someone in person. Jordan Peterson, who I like some of his stuff. He's just fine for a Kermit the Frog, but he did have this like amazing insight on the Bible I've never heard before. And he goes, even if you're atheist, even if atheism's totally like true and there is no God and so on and so forth, he goes, the Bible is one of the most just incredible pieces of collections of words ever. And he goes, even take the content aside, take all the stories out of it and just like the meta of what the Bible is, how humans have interfaced with it. He goes, start off 2,500 years ago. It's Jewish priests on Talmuds that have scrolls that like they have to handwrite and copy, and it's slightly diverse and preach to people. Goes then jump forward to the Roman Catholic era, and it's like, oh, now sinners, like the same knowledge from BC is now, don't get me wrong, it's probably been tweaked a little bit, who knows, but now under that same pretext, it's being spread to places like Europe and outside of the Middle East and down to places like Ethiopia and even Eastern to China and stuff like that. Did I get all my directions right? Yeah, I did. Proud of myself. But then the printing press comes out and like, dude, what's the first thing they print? Psh, Bible going out. And that's the first thing, because as most Westerners at least believe at the time, if I want to go to heaven, I better figure out what this thing means. And they start reading that more than anything. In this, if you really want to be in like a hard atheist about it, the spell book that the Jews used 2,500 years ago would later on go on to teach humankind to read. And from that, what have humans done with our ability to read? We've invented steam engines and farming methods and
supposedly.
I don't know about that. We'll see.
I think we went to the moon.
Then we just stopped doing. All right, hold on moon discussion, because damn it, there's something there. I just don't know what. But yeah, that one book like did so much. And then he goes, then you take the stories and stuff from it, and you can make of it what you want. But I think it's in the same conversation. Someone asked him like, "You are a Christian, though, right?" And even Jordan Peterson's like, "You don't know how scary it is to say you are a Christian." He goes, "I don't mean like, oh, the media is going to get you," or like, he goes, "No, if that's true, Like, that's such a big responsibility. Like, that's scary. I'm like, oh, Kermit the Frog's had a responsibility scary? I don't like this man. He works hard. I don't.
Yeah.
Supposedly he works hard. He puts off a very good image that he works hard. And figure someone that gets that big has to do something. But I don't know. Maybe I'm brainwashed by capitalism. Lefties, I'm open to criticism. Give me some images of him lounging. All right, I'm reaching into the ether. I'm grabbing that thought that was just floating back out there, throwing it in my head, and spitting it out of my mouth. Moon landing. We're getting on that. Yeah, all right. I do tend to believe we landed on the moon. However, there's some awfully weird things about all of it. About every single little detail that was the truth, quote unquote, back in the 70s. Like, all right, first of all, according to the Space Walrus, Neil deGrasse Tyson, there's like, you can prove we landed on the moon by like looking at it through a telescope, and there's actually like lasers that are constantly shooting at the Earth that we put up there to signify it.
We put mirrors.
Mirrors, that was it, yeah.
We shoot lasers and it bounces it back.
Yes, he's our resident infield science expert. But despite that, I'm no science expert at all. And I haven't Googled any of this. This is just going to be stuff I'm remembering off the top of my head.
That's terrifying.
Very. But this is like stuff like I've certified, put in the bank. You're free to Google web browse or Brave search it. But like, one thing I know of is that whenever we gave like a chunk of moon rock to, I think it was like Yugoslavia or one of those like Baltic kind of countries, we gave it to them like as a sign of like, hey, we're your friend now, maybe after bombing you a bunch and influencing your elections. We give them this, and like the guy, like the president's like, oh, I love it. Like, we're going to take it to like our science department and like, do experiments on it and stuff. They take it to like the whatever country science department, and they're like, oh, this is petrified wood. You brought us a chunk of old wood that happened to look white now. Where's the moon rock? And NASA was like, whoopsie daisy. We just, we've
got us.
Like, we've just misplaced it. And like since then, like that country has never. So just like for real, Google moon rock petrified wood, and it should be like one of the first things that pops up. Have you ever heard Neil Armstrong? The weird stuff he has said.
No, but I know Buzz Aldrin, the second guy. My favorite is he punched a reporter in the face when they asked him if it was fake.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, that's.
He's like old too when he did it. He's like, I'm tired of it, and he finally just loses it and just socks the reporter in the mouth.
I tell you what, worst case scenario, everything about the moon landing was fake and it's a conspiracy. I am impressed with his dedication to like he'll even punch a reporter and be like, no, it's all real, damn it. This is my retirement and my kids' kids' future. But no, Neil Armstrong has said some weird stuff, and it could be selective editing. But I even want to say, like, I went, like, a guy would feature this little sound clip, and just to make sure I even went back and listened to the whole speech. And it's like a Q&A session, and Neil Armstrong, who, I don't know if you've ever noticed, he never talked a lot.
Yeah.
Like, growing up, for hearing his name all the time, I just knew what he looked like in a spacesuit. I couldn't ever, like, tell you a picture of the guy. But, like, in one of the recordings, he's giving a speech, and there's a Q&A session at the end. And I think one of the things somebody asked him, like, what was one of the most amazing things you saw in space? And he says, like, well, some of the things we don't know what they were. And he's like, it's still like there is moon landing recording of them seeing some shiny object and not, I don't know how. All right, this is my one claim. I'm not sure how true it is. I'm wavy on it. But supposedly there is recordings of them going like, we're seeing something out of this direction of the shuttle. It's something shiny and it's moving at a pace that it should. UFO, pretty much. We're looking at a UFO.
It's the moon men.
Yeah. But this, supposedly it's like before they land, it's on their way up there. But no, like, so Neil Armstrong, back to his speech, he's saying in the speech, like, what's the most crazy thing you've seen? He goes, but no matter what, I encourage the next generation to look for answers. Don't just, something along the lines of, quote, like, don't settle for what you're being told. Look for answers. And, like, it has nothing to do with what he's talking about. I don't know if he's going senile at this point, or if he's like, it almost sounds like someone that has a gun to their head backstage and they're like, blink, blink, I'm not in trouble. Blink, blink, everything is fine. It really looks like that. And And the one big thing, they bring it up on Joe Rogan quite a bit, is like, we went to the moon, which is so many miles away from the Earth, like a couple of times, but since the late 70s, we haven't gone since. And some people blame that on NASA funding. And like, we've done like a lot of early, not early, close atmospheric flights and stuff like that. But as far as going to the moon, we don't do it. And common excuse is, well, look at NASA's budget, blah, blah, blah. Oh, that's a lot compared to, compared to any, it's a lot. But I digress. I don't know. Supposedly the technology is better. And
we're in the process of trying to go back. I think we would never go, or like it wouldn't be a big thing if we really never went, because they're like, oh, then the cat has to be out of the bag.
Yeah. And like you said, it's the mother of all conspiracy theories.
Yeah. What gets me, though, is the fact that, we put our flag there, in my opinion, it's America's moon. But now due to solar radiation, the flag's white, so I guess it'd be France's.
Yeah! History pun. I got a question. If the American flag on it, is it America's moon or is it the federal government's moon?
And actually, there was I did Google that at one point. There's a whole treaty that the world agreed to that nobody can own the moon.
Everybody except North Korea. We don't trust y'all with the moon. And like these 3 little other countries, not you guys.
Yeah.
But and dude, there's so much man. All right, I'll tell you this: if the official story is true with the moon, like every bit of it, there is so much. Then Stanley Kubrick with his, I know you've heard about The Shining and all, like the Room 243, like all the things he supposedly hid in there to show that the moon landing was fake and all, like that's what the conspiracy theorists say. If the moon landing's legit, what a great troll. Like what? Because he knows, he would know there'd be public information that he worked with NASA and helped them record like the practicing and all that. It really makes. Give him the tip of my hat. Hey, did you ever watch, we talked about it off air. Did you ever watch Eyes Wide Shut?
No.
All right, mandatory homework. I'm saying it on the record. It is, man, for that to be the dude's last movie, I watched it I think it came out like the early 90s. I watched it when I was like 20, back in 2010? Yeah, 2010. And I was like, oh, what a weird and odd movie. Now that I'm remembering parts of it, I'm like, oh, God, dude, it's like you watched Alex Jones. The movie is about Alex Jones.
Before Alex Jones is Alex Jones.
When he started being Alex Jones. Alex Jones old. He started in the early 90s, doing wild stuff. Running.
Well, you say he, interviewed or snuck into that one...
the thing with the giant owl Grove. Bohemian Grove. Yeah. He snuck into Bohemian Grove. He would run up to reporters on the street. Or not reporters, but congressmen on the street and just with a camera and a microphone, I know you're sucking demon blood out of babies, and I got the documents and I'm going to show it to everybody right now. And the congressman would be like, get this crazy son of a bitch away.
I'm jonesing for the scoop.
Dude, yes he was. I dropped my phone. Oh well. Well, I've recovered my phone. We are good. We're going to finish up tonight with just a little friendly, competitive discussion of, Merce, what is the perfect self-defense weapon for your home?
Claymore Roomba.
Okay, that's perfect ideally, but let's talk about practically. 'Cause here's the thing: a Roomba has a mind of its own. You might get the bad guy. You might get your kitchen carpet, and along with the rest of your kitchen.
Either way, it's going to be epic.
This is going to be that's going to be awesome. But no, what's your go-to? If all right, you have an unlimited budget, you can have one gun, but literally it will not work outside of defending your property from an intruder. If you try to shoot deer with it, it's not going to work. It's a magic gun. Just go with it. You can only use this gun for defending your property.
Flamethrower.
Okay, David, you do think outside the box.
Not so much for its effectiveness.
No, hang on. You're going to destroy your property.
Well, yeah, I know, but not just for its effectiveness, but if it's...
Yeah, I know, but I'll kill the guy very painfully.
I literally wonder what's the most painful way for me to kill somebody.
Good God, I was thinking different kinds of shotguns.
Because if you come on my place to steal from me or hurt somebody in my family, I want to defend myself with a castle doctrine in self-defense, but I want you to die slowly and painfully.
That's my producer.
It's a flamethrower.
What is it? Is it an AR-12 or is it an AK-12? The AR shotgun, 12 gauge.
Oh, well, some of them even have the adapter on the bottom
That's I have a family member that will go unnamed, but I'm pretty sure it's a legal one that he has. But
Of course it is.
of course, absolutely, all of them are. But no, it's got a magazine
We
on
only own legal firearms.
Bleep, blop, bloop. we love all gun laws and how they keep our country safe. Please don't investigate us. But no, I retract that last statement I made. No, I can't even say that in jest. But no, I was honestly thinking. I don't know. I was cleaning my 12 gauge the other day, and I call it the goose gun. It's like it's almost as tall as I am. It's honestly like 5'8" or something like that. It's a long old barrel. It's a 12 gauge pump. And dude, I always hear a lot of stuff about AR-15s and stuff like that. And like, don't get me wrong. If you gotta defend yourself from 150 yards away and you're gonna spend $5,000 just on equipment and not even the gun, yeah, cool, good for you. But you can spend $450 on a Mossberg and $50 and have 112 gauge shells, and dude, anything that steps into your house, you just have to point it down a hallway. You don't even have to aim, and all your troubles disappear.
Just the sound of a shotgun is commanding. You
Yes.
don't even have to shoot it. The person doesn't even have to see it.
And even on like a physical level, like there's something so like about a rifle bullet that's so aerodynamic, and the barrel must be precisely turned on the inside like so, with grooves to help the gas vent and escape to propel this one bullet in a very particular trajectory. Shotgun, just load it, put some pellets in there, and let it fly out.
Yeah.
Like there's something so, like going all the way back to the blunderbuss, which was just like, screw it, stick metal in there with gunpowder and shoot it. Its form and function has changed so very little over the past like 200 years. I'm like, what a beautifully primitive weapon. And like for as advanced as guns are, what just primitive beautifulness the shotgun is. And that's why I like my nerdy self that plays video games. Anyone I get into, I am the prick that always grabs the shotgun class when the game first comes out and myrtleize everybody until they complain about it enough and they nerf the shotguns to where they don't work anymore. On a side note, right, Merce doesn't even play Modern Warfare, but when that game first came out, when you got the double barrel 12 gauge, it was the only time in a video game I've seen a 12 gauge shoot, I believe, like it would in real life. Like if someone was within what seemed like 50 yards and you aimed it at their head and got it like a shot, you would kill them. I'm like, this is great. It doesn't matter if they're 2 feet away or halfway across the map. It's Call of Duty. You can't see very far. You can light them up. Then everybody complained, and then it turned into like
Halo, where you gotta be like point blank.
Like, dude, from 3 feet away, it's the one-hit destructor if you shoot them in the big toe. At 4 feet, you have to throw the gun at them to do more damage. Like, I don't know why. That's the staple for video games. That's very depressing. But I believe the reason for that is because in real life, shotguns are kind of over.
Shotgun usually wins.
Yeah, and dude, all right, they're far away. Put a slug in there. You're now shooting something close to a 50 caliber at them, and they better hope they're not wearing body armor, because that's just gonna make you live longer through that. I don't know. Can a slug go through body armor?
Either way, you're gonna have a bad day.
Yeah, dude, you might as well get hit by a sledgehammer. But I don't know. I'm not for having such a love of firearms. I actually own very
You're
little.
talking me into the shotgun. I might go shotgun,
dude,
if I can have the Dragon's Breath shells.
I never said you couldn't. I mean,
I still want them to burn.
All right, hang on. Side note to the side note on shotguns. How versatile? I remember like when YouTube was first coming out. That was one of the things I would look up is different shotgun shells. Have you seen all the different ones? Like besides Dragon Breath,
the homemade stuff. There's all kinds of like where the guys. I've seen ones where guys are making like random projectiles.
Don't you talk about Philip Ludi to me? It'll turn me on too much. But side note, he's the guy that like made homemade firearms in Britain. He was really cool. I don't know if he was cool. He made guns from Home Depot though. But no, like loading
the guy in Japan.
Oh, you mean the guy that watched Doom one time and was like, I'm gonna make one of those in real life, but with duct tape and PVC pipe. Dude, one of the guys I listened to, Ryan Dawson, who's this wild, and I cannot emphasize wild enough, I do not agree with all of his opinions. I will get that out there right here and now, but he does some good reporting. He lives in Japan, and he's like, man, something wild about this culture. He goes, like, since the COVID lockdowns here, he's like, the one great thing about it is that there's no tourists. Because no tourists are allowed to come to Japan during the COVID lockdowns. He goes, but there's literally no crime. None of the bikes are being stolen. He goes, every time something's stolen, it's always tourists. It's always people. He goes, people in Japan don't commit crime. He's like, that's socially, like, it's not even you're afraid of the law. Like, you're afraid of being found out that you'll be caught doing this.
Yeah.
So then a guy said, hey, I'm going to give some people to reason to care. And he went big.
Oh.
I don't endorse it. Like, shooting people in power is how you give them more power.
I watched the video. Like
really?
Yeah, there's like the raw, unedited video.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I did not know this.
Yeah, the first shot I don't think really hit the guy, but the second shot, it packed a wallop.
Oh, definitely.
And he kind of like just like crumpled like.
What was it? Was it midsection? Was it?
Yeah, midsection.
Oh,
yeah, like the first shot, the guy kind of it seemed like he turned around, like wasn't really sure what was going on because they're like gun in Japan, and then then the second one definitely just.
Duh.
Like just crumples him.
Dude. That's. And all the assassinations of world leaders, that's got to be one of the crazier ones.
I was thinking that. I was like, I just watched like somebody, like the former leader of a major country just get blown away.
They need, like, you remember that show Deadliest Warrior?
Yes.
You remember it? Kind of like they've hit like a Spartan from
versus
Sparta. Yeah, exactly. So they need Andrew Jackson versus Japan, Japanese assassin with the homemade shotgun.
Let him shoot.
I'll come at you with my cane, boy. Unagi power, unagi. Oh, I just did some racist shit against Japanese. It's always been okay to do it to them. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't make these rules.
Disney
and just
even
follow
did
them. Yeah. Did they?
Yeah, you should see some of the World War II political cartoons.
Oh, well, yeah. Everything from that era is, everybody of these three particular countries are the devil.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever see the one where it's like Donald Duck is actually a veteran that has PTSD and his Huey, Dewey, and Louie are taking advantage of it and like throwing firecrackers in the house and driving him, and they're like having a laugh of like, oh, look at this veteran losing his mind.
I haven't seen that one.
Oh, dude, yeah,
I've seen the one where he goes to like Japan to fight, and like there's one point he's like walking through the jungle, and the Japanese go to shoot him, and they're like, no, we must wait to shoot him back.
And they got like huge buck teeth and slanted eyes, and they've tried to block those away. Like, no, that was the old Disney before we took over. Any of it, someone put it like this, and it still blows my mind. He's like, think of any of the political leanings of your will of Disney from the 40s to the current day. Pick your aisle. Isn't it just kind of bonkers that a guy that drew a mouse got this much power?
He made an empire.
Like, dude, like that's just an insane, like on a capitalist communist, none of that, like just no economic, just this dude that was good at drawing mice and apparently making connections. Very, very good connections. Just dominated American culture. Like, dude, he's almost like the not Harrison Ford. That's a Berlin reference right there. He's the Henry Ford of like American culture.
Yeah.
Like he was like the first one to like almost industrialize it. Am I thinking of like a new philosophical theorem right now, right here in front of everybody? Probably not, but I'm digging this water that I'm drinking. Anyways. I'm running out of fuel, guys. I quit drinking coffee a little bit ago because it's late. But hey, we're going to be bringing y'all with a lot more costed episodes, a lot more regular episodes, and they're going to be increasing in quality. Like, Merce, what's our season 2 ringer? What's our...
Bigger and better.
Because we can't do grammar worth a damn. Although this sentence, I think, worked if you threw a comma in it. Anyways, guys, y'all have a wonderful evening, wonderful day, whatever the hell you're doing. Follow us on Twitter at Bandit Radio Hour, Facebook, Bandit Radio Hour, all of it Bandit Radio Hour. Just Google that and look for wherever you want. And we'll be seeing y'all next week, if not sooner.